Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy, founders and financial advisors of Allon Planning Partners. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and today's show is the Report.
Okay.
What? No, we have so many different reports that we would like to help get into your hands. Throughout today's program, we're going to have your Social Security report, your tax report, and an offer for your brand new complimentary book. That comes with coming in for an appointment. But these reports are so very important today.
Absolutely.
I know you base everything here on education. So getting this information into people's hands so they can work with you is incredibly important. So let's start with Social Security. I think a lot of folks think it's easy. Do I take it sooner? Do I take it later? There's a lot to it. Brittany, you guys have put together this entire report. Is Social Security easier or is it harder than ever?
You know, it is challenging. It is challenging to put together. But I want to tell you, most folks don't think through their strategies and the timing of how they do it and when. And that's one of the common mistakes we see is people turning 62 and filing automatically because they are unaware of some of the stipulations or maybe some of the benefits of waiting or maybe even just the options they have in filing. So there are many other options for filing than the people we meet with actually know about. And so we spend a lot of time, you talked about, of course, education, talking through, hey, here are your options. And so another mistake we see with Social Security is people not making the decision of to file, when to file, looking at it just narrow approach, just as Social Security. What we want to encourage folks to do is to take this 10,000-foot view, to step up and to look at it in light of your overall plan. Look at how the pieces work together, your personal savings, Social Security, if you have a 401k or maybe a pension with your work, how those can work together. And you know, that helps you really know how to create a strategy for the piece of Social Security.
And I think what Brittany's saying is it's easy to file for Social Security, but it's absolutely difficult to optimize your Social Security. And so what we want to help you do and encourage you to do is optimize the amount of Social Security that gets into your pockets. Meaning you've put thousands and thousands of dollars into Social Security over the working life that you've had. Don't you want to make sure that you can optimize it to get the most out of it that you can get? That's what we want to help with. So, you know, the biggest question I get when people come in for Social Security is it still going to be there? I just need to go ahead and file because who knows if it's going to be there? That's a big question, right? I would say absolutely, in my opinion, Social Security in some form or fashion is going to continue on. Is it going to be modified for younger generations? I do believe that would to be the case, you know, which is going to make it even harder to optimize for them. So what we want to help do is put together a specific strategy and a plan. That's why we have this Social Security report for you to get to so that you can optimize how do I get the most out of my Social Security? And maybe it's filing on your own record. Maybe it's filing on your spouse's record. Maybe it's filing at 62. Maybe it's filing at 67. Maybe it's filing at 70. There are tons of options that are available to you that you really need to think through before you pull that trigger.
Right, and there are record amounts of Americans taking Social Security early today.
Yes.
I understand the fear, the worry. Is it going to be there? Well, I'm going to turn it on as soon as possible. But there are some huge mistakes of taking it early. Let's say that you're making a decent salary. Let's say that you're making $125,000, $150,000 a year, and you say, well, I'm going to turn on that Social Security at 62 because I want to start banking that money away. I can invest it better than the government. What happens if you're working and you have a high income?
Did you know that there is a penalty assessed to you if you are working before your full retirement age and collecting Social Security? So that means between 62 and 66 or 67, depending on your birth date, if you are in that window and you are still working and you decide to begin taking Social Security, if you are making above the threshold, which I'll give you a general amount, it's right around $22,000. If you're making more than that, you will be penalized on what you are making, which means you're going to be taking Social Security just to give it back to the government and not really being able to keep it and receive it and invest it.
And at that, taking it at a lower rate, not taking it at a full rate, locking it in at a lower rate.
And possibly affecting your spouse.
So, you know, we see this all the time. You're not alone in this thinking, hey man, I just need to turn this on. We had a lady a few months back come in and she wanted to turn on her Social Security right at 62. Jay, Brittany, what should I do? Well, she was making $75,000 a year, and she's like, I get to add another $1,200 a month to my income right now. I can turn on Social Security. We had to explain to her that's not the way it works, because every dollar that you make above that $22,000 threshold, Social Security, the IRS, will take back $1 for every $2 you make above that. So when it's all said and done, that $1,200 a month goes right back into taxable income that you're going to have to give right back as penalty. So it is not optimal for you in that situation to take Social Security right now. Now that's disappointing, because a lot of people say, well, I've put in this my whole life, I should be able to take it when I want to. We're just here to tell you the rules and optimize the situation to where you get the most out of Social Security.
And if you are at your full retirement age, that penalty goes away.
That's right.
So if you're 66 or 67, whatever your specific full retirement age is, you can work and collect Social Security, and there is no penalty assessed to your income because of that. So it does shift when you hit that full retirement age.
And I know it's scary. I know it's scary thinking of, well, if I start taking from my investment accounts, I'm going to run out of that money. As you said, this is the government that I've been paying into for decades.
Right.
Shouldn't I have been able to pull it out? Just some very round numbers. I just looked these up. Let's say that at your full retirement age, you were going to receive about $3,500. If you turn it on as early as 62, the number came out to be about $2,500. And if you waited until the age of 70, letting it grow past your, it was actually about $4,500.
Right.
25 to
Look at that
$4,500 is a big,
Yeah.
huge swing in income.
And you know, the one thing that we can't control is age expectation, but people are living longer than ever before. We've talked about this in many shows about we've got to prepare for a longer retirement. And if that's the case, did you know every year that you wait to turn on Social Security after your full retirement age, it's growing 8%. You get an 8% increase in that full retirement age benefit every year that you wait after your full retirement age. So if it's 67, you get 8%. If you wait till 68, on and on, all the way till 70, when you have to take that benefit.
Unless you're taking the spousal benefit, because
That
that
is
one
right.
doesn't grow. There's just, that one doesn't grow after
That's
your full
right.
retirement
That's
age.
right.
But so there's so many things. So the Social Security guide is something you put together. We're offering that today.
That's why
don't
we
you tell
created
everybody
it.
about
That's
that?
right. We have a Social Security guide just to kind of answer some of these FAQs, to kind of give you a quick look at, how do I file? When should I file? What does this look like? What are some of the stipulations or regulations? We have created this guide to help you know how to navigate. Now, in addition to that, we want to extend the invitation for you to come in and sit down, and we walk through that together. Because it can feel overwhelming. Now, we've created this guide very intentionally to be understandable and clear, but putting it in action within your specific situation is the key. And again, that's where we step up and look at the entire view of your financial situation, not just pigeonhole Social Security in and of itself, but look at how this will impact your entire financial picture. That is planning, not just filing for security, but that is true Social Security planning. How does it impact the whole of my financial plan, and how can I maximize it based on these other factors, my assets, my income, how much I've saved, my 401k, putting it all together. So we offer that invitation today. Give us a call at the number below or use the QR code. You can go directly to our website as well. That the QR code will take you directly to a link where you can input some information and schedule an appointment directly on our calendar. You don't even have to pick up the phone and call if you don't want to. You can go straight to this link and you can access our calendar and find a time that's convenient for you where we can review all of this together.
So many tools, so many different ways to get them. Get your Social Security guide. It's no cost to you. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about 401k plans and how you can get our tax guide when we get back right after this.
You have to have a plan. You know, from what I found, we call it the sleep well at night plan, the SWAN plan.
Yeah, a comprehensive plan is extremely important for individuals, families, couples, anyone who is working with their finances. You've got to have more than just an investment.
If we have a plan and know that we can follow step by step a plan that's going to get us to our ultimate goal, we can have trust in that plan to anchor us in those tumultuous times.
And so we're able to really show them, hey, there's all these other things that really come into play.
So it's real important for us to really create those unique plans for people. And it's not just like, well, my neighbor's doing this, so I'm okay.
You got to think about your taxes. You got to think about your health care. You know, you got to think about a number of things that really impact the whole of your financial situation, especially for couples. And we talk about this a lot, that at minimum, both spouses should at least be informed.
Ultimately, we want everyone to not just, be wandering through life and hope that they make it to the goals that they have. We want to put a written step-by-step plan together so that you actually know how to get to those financial goals. Because if you don't have a plan in place to get you through some of those times and you don't have financial security, that's something else that is added to that stress level that can push you overboard.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy, founders and financial advisors of Allon Planning Partners. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Today we're talking about the report show, different guides that we have for you to help you with. Oftentimes we're talking about so many different topics in retirement planning, but we do want to get these tools into your hands. Right now I'm going to talk about the tax guide. The reason why is 401ks. 401k balances were up last year.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of things that were also down. The actual amount of contributions, meaning that the dollar amount going in was lower. Hardship withdrawals were higher, and there's specific rules on these hardship withdrawals. And again, the regular 401k, that's tax deferred. So the whole reason this is tied into tax planning is, should we still be using only this tax deferred account for retirement savings? Who wants to take this?
Yeah, I think there's a lot wrapped into that question there, right? So one, inflation probably played a big role in why the accounts or the hardship withdrawals are taking a hit. The markets were up last year, so it doesn't surprise me that balances were up because the market's helping aid there. But people are feeling the effect of inflation like never before. So what we want to do is make sure you have a holistic plan. And so that holistic plan includes things like inflation planning and how do I make sure I have the income that I need when I need it. But it also includes tax planning, because these tax deferred buckets, if we continue to not contribute to them, we don't get the tax deferral right now, right? We've talked about there's a balancing game here. If your employer offers a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k, you should look at what balance should I put in each, because meaning you're not going to get the tax deferral benefit this year, but every dollar you put into a Roth 401k, the gains are tax-free forever. So we want to make sure that we have the correct balance in both of those and taking the right tax approach, depending on how much income you're making right now, what your current tax bracket is. We know that the current tax law sunsets in 2025, so the taxes are going up, they're not going down. We keep spending like crazy, so we're going to have to make this money back somehow. So I want us to put together a tax plan and a tax strategy for you to know, where should I be putting these dollars? And one, I would ask the person, what's the why behind why aren't you contributing to that 401k the way that you have? Is it because of inflation? Is it because life unexpected's happened and we needed to do something different? But let's put a plan together that we have consistency in this so that we have better tax planning.
And we have to acknowledge that there are scenarios where there is unnecessary spending occurring, where they're delaying contributing to accounts because I'd rather spend it, or I'd rather have the money to do this, right? That we see that all too often, but when you delay preparing for that future, it's going to eat you alive, because you will get to that place where it's time to retire, and then, as we talked about before, you're pigeonholed. You're in a place where I don't really have many options. I just have to work and work and work, and there's nothing else you really can do if you're in that position. So let me say it this way: be careful to prioritizing your short-term desires over your long term. This is where a plan really comes in, to where you work to best meet both of those. Obviously, your immediate needs: food, shelter, clothing, housing. Those basic necessities, right? I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the extra, the discretionary funds that you may have, and then ensuring that you're not over prioritizing what you want to do in the immediate and totally negating how that's going to impact your future.
And I understand that people want to pay as little in taxes every year as possible.
That's
I
right.
think every American would agree with that. But what I was thinking about when you were saying the Roths and going to the Roth 401k, it doesn't have to be an either or. Meaning
That's
you
right.
could maybe stay right in the middle of that tax
That's
bracket.
right.
So if you've been
Yes.
using a regular 401k, and let's say the 22% tax bracket, maybe we start contributing 1/3 over to a Roth 401k
right.
if it's
That's
offered.
right.
We could try to keep you in between that
In good
tax
balance.
bracket band, and that way you don't have to pay more in taxes this year.
Right.
Or maybe it comes down
100%.
by a couple of percentage points. It all depends. In the tax guide, do you talk a little bit about these strategies?
We do, and we also want to emphasize that taxes are on sale right now. I want to emphasize that the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was started then, it's going to end in 2025. So 2026, when we wake up, we're automatically going to have a higher tax bracket unless Congress decides to extend it, which I don't know that they will, but you need to make sure that when you're looking at how you're paying taxes now, you are paying a discounted rate. So we want to make sure that you're doing it appropriately. And like Spike said, you don't have to go to a higher tax rate now unnecessarily, but we want to make sure we're taking advantage of the lower tax rates that we have right now and the higher standard deductions that we're getting right now, right? Because that will also be changed
Yeah,
in the
and
future.
when a lot of folks, when you hear the word diversification, you think about diversifying how I'm invested. But most folks forget or don't really apply the fact that we should be diversified in tax statuses. What we want to help you do is build different buckets of money that have
Right.
different tax statuses. So, for example, building up your 401k or an IRA or something that's tax deferred to where you will only pay taxes on that when you withdraw the funds. That's one. You want to also have these tax-free buckets to where you're paying the tax up front and you're investing it and all of the growth grows, and when you go to take the funds out, it's completely tax-free. So you don't want to be in a place to where you only have these tax deferred buckets because then you'll get into this terrible place, this ticking tax time bomb at retirement where everything you're pulling out is taxable, and then tax rates are obviously
we can't
higher
control
at
the
that
tax
point.
rates, yeah.
That's right.
And there's a couple more
And your tax
advantages
bill's
as
huge.
well that I've learned from you both as well, is that if you do invest into Roth accounts, it is not affected against your Social Security.
That's right.
Which means for your provisional income.
Your Medicare.
And boy, there was something
Your
else.
Medicare.
Yeah.
your-
So the Social Security and your
Your Medicare
RMDs,
premium.
you don't
Yes.
have to start taking that money out. So the Medicare, the Social Security, so that's why you're trying to create these different
Absolutely.
streams.
Yeah, different
Because there
streams,
are
yeah.
different categories when you're being taxed on your Social Security income. So it can be up to 85% of your Social Security income is taxable. We want to try to get you in a lower tax bracket with your Social Security. Every dollar that you pull out of a Roth account doesn't go towards that Social Security being taxed at a higher rate. It's a very good point. So we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of every tax law that we
Yes.
can to make sure that you're paying Uncle Sam the least amount as possible for your situation.
Right. Folks, get your own tax report right here. You can call the phone number you see on the screen, or as we've said before, you can also use your phone. So open up to the camera function, point it at the QR code down here, click on that, it'll take you over to our website.
That's right.
So we've talked about our Social Security guide and now the tax guide as well. We can get both of those into your hands. They are best served, though, by you coming on into the office, letting us get started on your own written financial plan. We're going to discuss more of that when we get back with Jay and Brittany Hagy, founders and financial advisors of Allon Planning Partners, right after this.
A fiduciary is really just a legal term saying that we are legally bound to hold our client's interests before our own. And so we are licensed that way. We're licensed as a fiduciary, which means that we have that legal obligation. But hopefully, folks, when they come in, they understand that we take it to the next level. We're actually trying and strive, I guess, to treat everyone as family. And so we want to make sure that when folks walk in here that we're not trying to sell them a product. We're not trying to place them into something before they get into the door. We really want to take a unique approach to whatever situation that they have and craft a plan that's most beneficial for them.
Come see what sets us apart and what makes us different. And so much of that is that it is beyond this transactional approach. It's beyond just the transaction into the relational.
So that's really what we do day in and day out. And so we live not only by the fiduciary standard, but by the family standard, because we want folks to know that we want what's best for them, because ultimately what's best for them is what's best for us, because it keeps clients happy. And so that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that they have the best situation possible for their finances.
Welcome back. You were Jay and Brittany Hagy. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. We're talking about retirement planning and a lot of those solutions. And it's really interesting. We do talk about the numbers a lot, how you put together the math, the written financial plan, taxes, Social Security. But you said, look, we've got to talk to people about how they feel.
That's right.
And there's a new report that come out that retirees today, or those who are in pre-retirement, are not feeling very confident. The numbers are low. And I guess one of the biggest fears and worries is, are we going to run out of money in retirement? Now, that's a hard question for you to answer for millions of Americans, but are the feelings just as important as the numbers, Brittany?
Oh, absolutely they are. They impact your decision making. They can totally change the trajectory of your financial future if you allow them to. And so you want to make sure you're not making those emotional-based decisions, but how you feel about your situation matters. Because if you're stressed, you're going to be anxious, and you're going to deal with lack of sleep or insomnia or constant worry or health issues because you're not eating, because you're wringing your hands and nervous. That's not where you want to be. And this is caused for a number of reasons. One reason would be, especially for the older generation, maybe wanting to hold everything so close to their chest, so private that they're unwilling to share that and actually receive help. You don't have to be in that position where you're afraid. Yes, because we respect that privacy and want you to be in a position to where you feel comfortable to be able to share that and us to be able to help you navigate through. I think the second reason folks feel so unprepared is because they haven't really planned. I think a lot of folks think they have planned because I've got an IRA or I've got a 401k, but that's not a plan. That's just a component of the plan. So we want to lift your preparedness, right, and help you become more prepared for this season so that you can enjoy where you're at in life, so that you can enjoy the stage of life you're in and not be in this constant state of fear and worry.
And this is something that you're going to find much different in how we look at financial planning than a lot of the big box retail firms out there, is because we like the X's and O's too. We like the black and the white. We can kind of walk through that. That actually is the easy part to me, is the should you be in this investment versus that investment and why. The hard part is, will you stick to that investment? And that's got to do with emotions, because every investment that you're in or whatever it looks like, you're going to have an experience in every market cycle. That's why we have the tree as our logo behind us, is what we talk about all the time. There's different seasons, and every season brings a different level of either peace or fear or anxiety or comfort or whatever it may be. But we want to talk you through, what is your experience going to look like, not just what is this investment versus that investment is going to look like. Because we know that if you can be stuck, you can actually feel confident in your investment choices and confident in your financial plan, then you'll be able to live, like Brittany said, with a lot more peace than folks who feel unprepared or unplanned.
Because if you are staying awake up at night worrying about your financial situation, then you're the ones who need to call. Call today, reach out today, scan that QR code today, and allow us to walk you through to ensure that what you do have is comprehensive, to make sure that you're not missing any very important pieces to this retirement puzzle or to this financial planning puzzle. Again, not just for retirement, but before retirement, preparing for that stage of life. So if you are in that position, feeling that fear and anxiety, I understand why you might feel that way, but you don't have to stay there. We invite you to come out of that, and let's walk through that together.
Yeah, we've created a guide.
Well, I was going to say, you have another guide. So we have 3 guides, and this guide is one of the more complete ones. It's your book.
Yes, this is our book, The Allon Approach, and this is a resource we put together for you who may have not ever called in or may not ever really worked with a financial advisor, or maybe don't really understand what is a comprehensive financial plan. This really lays that out for you in simple terms that we can understand. It's an easy read, very, very easy read. And there's some application steps in here too, where you can read and then apply what you're learning, or it gives you some questions to help you assess where you may be in this process of building a comprehensive financial plan. So this is a guide to help you. This is complimentary with any appointment. You can come on in, you'll receive that as you meet with us. But we really invite you to take this hand in hand with us. We will walk you through it. You don't have to go it alone.
right.
But this is a great place to start, to kind of get your juices rolling, to begin to understand, okay, this is what I need, or I've got that taken care of, but I don't have that, or it'll help you navigate the process.
Yeah, and it's really shocking to me, going back to that survey, how many people just don't feel prepared. They just really, and I know we're speaking to the majority of folks out here, you just may not feel prepared. That's why we've created these guides that we have, the Social Security guide, maybe we don't feel prepared for that, or the tax planning guide, or our book to try to help you walk through what every component of a full holistic financial plan looks like. So we want to invite you to get every one of these guides today. We want to invite you to come in for that complimentary written financial plan so that you can leave feeling prepared. Not that you just feel that way, but that you know that you're prepared, which leads you to a better place.
That's right. When you really can experience peace of mind when you know you have done all that's within your control. There's so much within our lives that is outside of our control. There's things we can't do anything about market volatility. We can't do anything about tax rates. We can't change inflation rates and what that looks like, or interest rates, none of that. But you can control what is in your responsibility to control. How you're allocated, what you have and have not taken care of within your household finances, and legal documents, and how you're allocated, all of these things, the risk you're taking, you do have control over those things. And when you've done all you can do, that will put you in a much better place. And then we leave the rest to the Lord. That's the bottom line.
That's right.
All of this stuff, we've done what we can do, and the rest we have to
trust
entrust to the Lord to help us navigate through.
And by the way, when you're saying putting together the written financial plan, obviously the book is printed, and the tax guide is a guide, and the Social Security guide is a guide. But that written financial plan, it also changes over time too.
There's
This
fluidity,
isn't just something
yes.
printed out cookie cutter once and set it and forget it. This is something that amends over
We
time.
intentionally leave room for fluid transactions here, right? Because we want to create a plan that can change with the seasons and change with the times, because we don't know everything that we're going to face, but we can plan as far as we can and leave enough room in there for fluidity to take place.
For things like a
Yeah.
job loss,
That's
or
right.
an unexpected death, or maybe a marriage. It's not always bad, it can be good. Being able to adjust when time comes.
Hey, well, I'd like to say that to everybody too. Financial planning isn't just for when everything is going great. Sometimes you like to have that financial plan and go, I wasn't expecting this plant to close down, or wasn't
Right.
expecting this job to disappear. I'm 3 or 4 months or 3 or 4 years away from retirement. How are we looking right now? And having that financial
We're here to
plan
help.
can help.
That's right.
Jay and Brittany, thank you both so very much. We've talked about so many different guides. Now, get your own written financial plan. It is no cost to you. Call the phone number you see down here, or use your phone, go to the camera and scan that QR code down there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. It'll take you over to our landing page so you can get your own written financial plan from the Allon Exchange and Allon Planning Partners. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.